You have found yourself on another episode of Locked On Bulls. On today's episode, me and Pat will be continuing our player previews today with Nikola Vucevic. We'll also about things that the Bulls need to improve on this upcoming season and HBO launching live sports with BR Sports Live. We'll talk about all that and more right after this.
I need a job.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. That's Pat the Designer, host and creator of the Windy City Breeze and host of the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls and Chicago Bears Central. Today's episode is brought to you by Jase Medical. Empower yourself when you purchase a Jase case, providing you with a personal supply of 5 antibiotics that treat 50 different infections. Get yours at jasemedical.com. That's JASE medical.com. Pat, let's get into the first topic today. We've been doing player profiles all week. We are continuing it now with Nikola Vucevic to wrap up the core three. We'll get to the other players on the team tomorrow. But when you look at Nikola Vucevic, man, playing all 82 games last season, was 18 and 11 basically for the season. What are your expectations for Nikola Vucevic this upcoming year?
Listen, I'm just hoping the assist numbers go the right direction. You know, I saw Vooch throw a lot of passes to open players that couldn't knock down shots. I'm hoping that changes this year. I hope that P. Will starts the season more confident because P. Will was the recipient of a lot of those passes, and he would like pump fake on the three early in the year and then drive to the bucket. And I think realistically, Vooch is what we want Vooch to be as a number 3. I know a lot of people don't like Vooch's game. I know a lot of people look at Vooch and say, oh my God, he's not a perimeter defender. He's not a lockdown defender. He's actually a pretty good defender. If I'm not mistaken, among most of the defensive metrics, I think he really ranks like
top 10
the
for
top
centers.
Like, bro, like I don't even think top 10. I think he's like top 5, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like when you look at a lot of the defensive rankings and different stuff like that, like Vooch actually grades out as a pretty good defensive center. I hope that there is more of a defensive effort next to him, whether it's Torrey Craig or it is Patrick Williams, so that we could see that accentuated more. But we've talked about it, right? There are certain centers that he goes up against that he can't stop. There are certain centers that he goes up against that he's elite against, right? Nikola Jokic is one of them, and it's very, very weird. Realistically, though, I think that this is I just want to sneak that in there on your point. Nikola Vucevic, per defensive metrics, not just defensive rating, the 8th best defensive center in the league last season. Better than Bam Adebayo, DeAndre Ayton, and Afrin Sengun. I love Sengun. Shout out to that. Afrin Sengun.
Yep.
Now Sengun's a bad defender though, so I don't know. Now I got to question the metrics a little bit more.
I'm not going about above though. I just named players that he was above.
Oh, he's above them. Okay,
Sengun's defensive rating was a 117. That's terrible.
That's crazy that Bam Adebayo's below him on that. I'm not gonna lie. That's surprising actually. Although Bam had a bad season. Bam was like, everybody forgets this. Bam was very mid last year and then had like a good series and was mid still for most of the playoffs. But anyway,
I mean, offensively he was nice all season. He averaged over 20 points.
He was nice offensively. Yeah. I get you that. But I think that with Vooch, right? Like, he's the 3rd option on his team. If Vooch was the 2nd or the 1st option, I think that we would see the Nikola Vucevic more that we saw during his time with Montenegro in the FIBA World Cup and all that. But you're not going to see that here on the Bulls because there is a Zach LaVine, there is a DeMar DeRozan. I just want the understanding of Billy Donovan to see what you saw from Vooch. And when you go through those moments where you're struggling to find a bucket, you get the ball down to him.
I mean, yeah, that's really the things that I want to see from Vooch this season is kind of out of his control to a degree. Like, I want to see him utilized better in the offense. That's going to take Billy Donovan having to adjust the system. One thing that I don't trust is Billy Donovan adjusting the system. Like you said,
all Chicago coaches adjusting their system at this point. That's kind of where
James Wade.
James Wade ain't a Chicago coach no more.
That's true. This is true. He's a Toronto coach.
Toronto cook.
Shout out to him and that horrible ass fan base. But
terrible fan base.
But with that said,
Garbage people. I didn't feel bad about that one. You threatened a 10-year-old. Garbage people.
Yeah, as a third option, Vooch was everything that you want. One of the better third options in the league. Like, it's just is what it is. Like, so you said the assist numbers. That's fair, and that again goes to other players around him hitting shots. One thing that I will say that I do want to see a little bit better from Vooch is be more selfish. If Billy Donovan doesn't call it, be a little bit more selfish, because I think that he can offer something that this Chicago Bulls team does drastically need. And if Billy Donovan isn't seeing it, I hope that the players on the court see it and try to empower Vooch a little bit more, specifically in second halves of the game.
And I think the biggest thing is too, right? Like, everybody wants him to be this continual stretch big where if the shot's not falling, don't keep forcing it. Get down there, get in the paint. Go back to the basket, right? Those are the moments to me that Vooch can dictate, right? I get it, right? The system, you have to play in the system, or else there's gonna be chaos on the court. But there's moments where DeMar DeRozan gets to do what he wants to do. There's moments where Zach LaVine gets to do what he wants to do. I need to see those moments for Nikola Vucevic where he gets to do what he wants to do. He says, you know what? We're struggling right now. Get me the ball down in the paint. I'll establish myself. Because every time we see him do that, you start to see it cook. And I think that that's realistically where this Bulls team has that's the one guarantee I think we have. There's very few people in the NBA that can stand in front of Nikola Vucevic defensively and keep him from scoring in the paint. I've seen him do it on Joel Embiid. I've seen him do it on Nikola Jokic. I've seen him do it on Giannis Antetokounmpo. I've seen him, right? Like, name whatever your Bam Adebayo, right? Like, name whatever your best defensive center is. I've seen Vooch thrive when he's down in the paint against those guys. And I think that that's the only thing that I'm not gonna say the only thing, that and DeMar DeRozan's mid-range are the two things that you can count on 110% of the time and say, when I need something to go right here, I can rely on this. I just want to see Vooch utilize that, even if it's not a part of what Billy's doing right now, right? Like, there have to be the one thing that I guess now that it's canceled, watching Winning Time has showed me is there's sometimes where you got to look at the coach and be like, hey, you're wrong, and I know it, and I'm going to just go prove it to you real quick. Yeah. And worst case scenario, you just bench me.
Yeah, I mean, that's a case in point there. I just really wish the criticism for what Vooch isn't stops and realize that we have a damn good center here. I just really wish that would happen.
I wish the criticism for him for what isn't would be stuff that he actually did in the past that now he doesn't do.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, Muggs complained about him being an elite defender. And I just don't remember this time where he was an elite defender.
Exactly.
Like, I never remember hearing about Nikola Vucevic down lows, unstoppable. And right, like, I'll give you the 3-point numbers, but I think even with the 3-point numbers, right, you see it as an accent. I don't look at Vooch as the problem there. I look at the system you're putting Vooch in where, yeah, he had what did he shoot? 38% one season from the 3-point line down in Orlando last season before we get him, right?
40% the year before we got
40% the year before we get him, right? But it's an accent off of the game in the paint, right? He's taken, I don't have the numbers in front of me, 4 a game, basically.
Yeah, last 2 seasons with the Chicago Bulls, 4.5 and 4.2.
And in his last year in Orlando, how many did he take?
6.5 his last year in Orlando.
And that's actually a lot of 3-pointers.
Yeah, but then keep in mind though, he was the number one option that team.
Yeah, he's probably making 2 of them.
Yeah, I mean 40.6%.
40%. So yeah, 2.
Yeah.
So I mean, look, I mean, what's he making? 1 out of 4 now, right? Like, that's basically, unless you're gonna let him shoot 6 of them, that's what you're extrapolating out. So I'm not tripping on Vooch at all. I like Vooch. I'm glad that we re-signed Vooch. I think that was the only thing that you could do with Vooch. I know a lot of people dislike Vooch's game, but you got to utilize the guy for what he is. And I've said this many a times. Y'all would have hated Chris Bosh when he came here because he wouldn't have been a 20-point guy every night. Y'all would have hated. I mean, you did hate Carlos Boozer.
And Carlos had 2 good seasons with the Chicago Bulls.
He had an all-star season, and then he had a season that was just below an all-star, right? Now I think, and then he had this season here. And this season was the tough season, right? Where this season with the eyebrow paint was the tough season.
The eyebrow paint is wild, bro. Like,
you want to know what's crazy? I'm pretty sure this is post-playing days. Like, this might not be that long ago.
No, bro, that was like 2 weeks ago.
I also never noticed how much of a schnoz this man got going on.
It wasn't that big. It's gotten bigger as he retired.
Has it gotten bigger since he's retired? Is that what it is, bro? Did he get a nose job to enhance the size?
You know, we got to find out. Did he like break his nose late in his career? And
he might have, actually. I never thought about that. I wonder if that did happen.
Look at us trying to add logic to it.
I vaguely remember him wearing a mask. Did he break his nose? That would actually make a lot more sense for the nose if he broke his nose. That or it happened completely off the court and somebody just was like, "Hey, you Carlos Boozer, you missed that layup."
I can't find anything off the top of it.
Hey, bro.
Hold on, wait a second. Carlos Boozer suffers extremely odd injury. What was this?
That's the Bulls one. That's when he first showed up here. Tripped over his bag.
Yeah.
Tripped over his bag and messed his back up.
Sure.
We was like, we know what you was doing, bro. You had that leg up.
We've all been there, bro.
We've all been there, bro.
Oh, it's happened to everyone. But with that said, next up, we're going to be talking about the things that the Bulls need to improve on this season. But before we get into that, we're going to talk to you guys about our sponsor, and that's Jase Medical. Everyone should be empowered to care for themselves and their loved ones during the unexpected. That's why Jase Medical offers the Jase Case. The Jase Case provides 5 life-saving antibiotics for emergency use and gives you a peace of mind so that you are not just hoping that you have access to medication in the case of an emergency. Jase Medical makes sure you have medication in hand. Jase Medical is simple. They handle everything from the online evaluation to licensed pharmacy medication delivery and ongoing consultation and care. Don't get caught up unprepared. Save more than $360 by getting these life-saving antibiotics with Jase Medical, plus an additional $20 off by using code LOCKEDON at checkout on jasemedical.com. That's JASE medical.com, promo code LOCKEDON. All right, Pat. Things that we want to see the Bulls improve on this season, bro. And when you look at it, like there's a number of things that we can go to, man. What's your first go-to on things you want to see the Bulls improve on this season?
I like how we've put it here, right? It's not things that we want to see. It's things that they have to improve on.
Yeah.
And realistically, there's one thing that sticks out in my mind. How many times last season did we talk about the Chicago Bulls going 4+ minutes without scoring a basket?
Yeah. Yeah.
You cannot do that this season. And I think if that's something that the Bulls can eliminate scoring wise, right? Where you just have your thing that you do, right? Listen, hey, we haven't scored a bucket in 1 minute and 20 seconds. Who's the guy we go to? Do we go to DeMar here? Do we go to Vooch here? Do we go to Zach here? You have to have your play that you know is going to get you a bucket every single time you run it. I don't mean you got to run it all game, but just when you get in those moments, because there's so many moments last season where the Chicago Bulls defense actually did well in those 4-minute gaps and kept you in those games. But the problem is you couldn't turn that defense into offense. And that happened way too consistently last season. That's the number one thing that this Bulls team has to cut down on, because there's too many of those games where it seems like we have them in hand. It seems like we're going to go on and we're dominating the first half, or we're dominating the third quarter, whatever it is. And then a team finds a way to creep back up and end up winning that game. Too many of those games last season. That's the number one thing the Chicago Bulls have to improve on coming into this season in my mind.
Listen, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Like the scoring droughts is crazy. And I love that you also did point out that like the defense still does pretty good, because we go through those 4-minute scoring droughts and the lead doesn't always increase. Now, we did see it happen in some games, right, where the Bulls gave up the big leads. How many 10-point leads or plus that the Bulls had that they end up allowing to go down by the end of the third, fourth quarter. So yeah, that's a great point there. What I want to see from the Bulls improve is the half court defense. Like there are certain times where we get good transition defense, and that's helped us to our defensive rating, but like the Bulls need to be a better half court defensive team, specifically defending the 3-point shot. We saw it so often. Like the Bulls have in a league where the three-point shot is becoming more and more and more of a weapon that teams rely on, and eliminating the mid-range shot. You have to be able to defend the three-point shot better, and that's what I want to see the Bulls do a lot of next season.
Yeah, I mean, who's going to be the biggest asset to that, though? I think that's the real question, right? Like, there's so many guys on this team now that it feels like can be, right? You're talking about a Torrey Craig, a Javon Carter, Alex Caruso, who already was here, right? Like, I mean, hey, bro, they still got Javonte Green on the player list on here, bro. Is he on the are we sure his contract ended, bro?
We can't have him. We have all of our contracts. He can't be on the team.
I swear they've updated this. I see Henry Drell. I see Where
are you looking at?
I'm looking on our website. You know, I'm looking on our website. Okay. Julian Phillips, Adama Sinai, bro. Everybody's been updated, and Javonte Green is still on this team, bro.
That's crazy, bro.
Javonte Green still a member of the Bulls, bro?
Listen, he's an honorary member. He was
Did
there
they
when
secretly sign
golf.
him?
That's crazy, bro.
Bro, does he got a Billy Donovan contract, bro?
He made.
They secretly signed him?
That's hilarious, bro.
Oh, God, bro. But no, for me, realistically, the thing defensively with this team, especially like you said, in the half court set, I think that the breakdowns just continually come from that power forward position, right? Like, I need to see P. Will step up in that moment, or Torrey Craig, whoever does end up getting the number one job there. And there was too much flux there last season. I said flux. There was, I mean, right? Like, at one point we had DJJ playing it, then DJJ never sees the floor again. We had P. Will in there, right? Like, there's just too many pieces swapping in and out. And I think realistically that hurts your defensive timing and all of that, because now Vooch is like, oh, that's a very different person standing in there than I had in there yesterday. You know what I mean? And I think that hurts the Bulls in the half court set. And also just somebody to, again, I feel like something else they have to have. Who's the person that's going to hold this team accountable when they're out of position? Pat Bev was there for an hour and did it.
Yeah.
And there's too many times when it's just, oh, I missed that. That's my bad. And even Billy Donovan said this, right? Like, I know we're very different on Billy Donovan, but the number one thing Billy Donovan said last season that I absolutely believe and respect from him is when he called out the players and said, there's too many times where we're going, that's my bad, coach.
Yeah,
there's too many plays on the floor where you're going, that's my bad, coach. That's my bad, coach. That's my bad, coach. No, do your job and hold people accountable who aren't doing their job. That's what we need to see this Bulls team do most of all. I mean, like, the accountability on this team is non-existent, realistically.
Yeah, I mean, everybody kind of does their own thing, and I mean, like we know that DeMar is a mentor and things like that, and they all get along. But like, we do need somebody that's going to hold people accountable, and that's why I have said before, like, I hope that Javon Carter brings the Chicago edge to the Chicago Bulls, because they need it.
Yeah, somebody's got to do it. It's not Io. You could tell that he was a little more on the reserve side at Morgan Park. He was in class. Shout out to Io DeSumo.
Are we slandering him for going to class?
I'm not, kind of, I guess. I don't know.
That's crazy.
Derrick Rose didn't, and he's a superstar. He was a superstar. Like,
wow, keep it going, bro. Like, it's
is
crazy.
That wild?
This is a little wild there.
Let me ask you this: how many hoopers you grew up? Well, you was in Italy, so it might be a little bit different. I was how many hoopers you grew up with? Where I
don't know about hoopers, but so I played football, right? And I'm not gonna lie, there was a class that I had that I didn't give two craps about this class. And keep in mind, I was star football team, and one time I was talking to the teacher. He was like, "You got a C." I was like, "All right, cool." He was like, "No, you don't understand. You have a C." I was like, "Bet, cool. That's all I need to know. You can go to practice now. Bet, I'm out."
That's all I'm saying. You know, when you're the best on the team, you don't be in class. That's just how it is. Maybe it's changed over time, but I saw dudes. I never forget. I got to do this every. We had Jeremy Richmond. He played at Waukegan. One day he was just at North Chicago. That's the school I went to. He's just walking the halls in school. That's like crazy. It's like 1:30 in the afternoon. And I said, Jeremy, what you doing here? Y'all got out early? He said, boy, I ain't been to class this week. I said, all right, bro.
That's funny.
And now he's overseas. Hey, snap into action. I think he might be just doing nothing. I think he's overseas. Snap into action this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
All right, Pat, last topic of the day. Right before we started recording, we got information that me and you looked at. We talked about HBO is going to be streaming live sports on HBO Max, but while initially that's kind of how we read it and what we were going to talk about, they're actually launching it as part of a new Bleacher Report sports live thing that they're doing, where it's going to be bringing some college games, MLB, NHL, and NBA games, if I'm not mistaken there. The streaming wars coming to sports and live sports being on these streaming apps is kind of the next wave. Adam Silver's already talked about it, like with the TV contracts that I think are renegotiated next summer. That's going to be a heavy part. They're trying to get all the streaming rights back. So, for example, now, like even on NBA TV, you, Pat, in Chicago cannot watch a game that's aired in Chicago on NBA TV. They're trying to eliminate that, where it eliminates all blackouts and things like that. Yeah. Do you think this may be the first step in getting to something like that?
Well, I think the first question realistically is who are your contacts at Bleacher Report? Because I got an entire show, the Windy City Breeze, that needs to be on that network. Anyway, we'll talk about that offline.
Listen, I mean, I would love to host the Chicago Bulls podcast for ESPN.
You know what I mean?
So maybe we could do something.
You know what I mean? Hey, we could make things happen. You know what I mean? Contacts, baby. We'll talk about this off the air. Nick, you're not listening, are you, Nick? Close your ears. No, realistically speaking, though, I mean, I think that can this be the first step in kind of stemming the tide on this? I think it kind of makes it worse, right? Mm-hmm. Realistically, because at the end of the day, you're splitting your audience and you're creating an audience. Now, the thing with this is, right, there'll still be live sports on TNT, TBS, all of those, right? You'll still get all your games on there, but they'll also be simulcast over on HBO Max. You're paying more for it on HBO Max. Realistically, this is a way to kind of help the cord cutters, but they lied to us about the cord cutting, bro. Like, that's why I think that this just makes it worse. Because now it's like, I feel like if you're like me, we're all in the same boat. I have YouTube TV because of the Sunday ticket and all of that, but I also have HBO Max. I also have Netflix. I also have Hulu. I'm paying just as much as cable at this point.
Yes.
Like, it's so much money. And yeah, can I cancel it at any time? Should I probably cancel it at any time? Of course I can. But I don't, and most of us don't, and that's how they keep getting us.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Like, I get what they're doing, and if somebody and it also forgot to mention, it is an added $10 tier. You do have to add that tier on to be able to get that. And so, listen. At some point, it's just going to become, like you said, we're already paying as much, but we're going to start getting those bundles, right? Where it's going to be like, hey, you can get HBO Max, Disney Plus, and whatever else, Paramount. I don't even know anymore what it is. I have them all. You're going to get that. Like, by the way, there is an app that you guys may, I have to remember what it's called, that you can log into all your streaming apps and access them all from one app. It makes it great because, like, there are times where I'm literally like, wait a second, is this not on Paramount Plus? No, this is actually on Discovery. Like, so it's
shoot that my way. We got to figure that out.
Right? Yeah, I got you.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I got you on that. But
we're doing a lot of side deals on this podcast, right?
It's a Chicago podcast, bro. It is what it is. It's a Chicago podcast.
Tell Vinny I said hi.
Yeah, but yeah, man. I mean, it is getting to the point where it's just being like cable again. And there'll be a readjustment, like I said, once they start bundling up, and like even now after ESPN pulled their Disney pulled ESPN and ABC from Charter. Now not only have they added that back, you now get Disney Plus the ad version free if you're a Charter subscriber. So like you're gonna start seeing stuff like that.
Charter, y'all version of Spectrum?
Yes.
Okay, all right, cool. Yeah. Because they ported from Spectrum too, so I didn't know if it was basically the same thing.
It's the Charter, I think, is the overall company, but it's Spectrum.
Yeah. So. I don't know, bro. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. I think at this point, I kind of feel bad for old people finally. Like, very rarely do I feel bad for old people. I feel bad now because it's like, bro, like, I just want to watch the game. I don't want to have Amazon Prime. And now what I will say is this. Have you seen the Thursday Night Football game on Amazon Prime yet?
I have not.
It is amazing.
Okay.
Like, it makes one, of course, right? Like, I don't know if you've seen the baseball games on Apple TV yet or not, but like, it's a beautiful camera. It's a beautiful shot. They have bro, it looks like Madden. It literally, like, it's like you're watching Madden.
That's crazy.
But it's a real game on the field. They even have like your digs underneath the people's feet that light up when the receiver comes open. And instantly you could be like, oh, my quarterback missed him. He sucks. It would have been so many red lights after that Bears game. But it's a weird thing to see, and I love the progression of it, but I do wish that there was some place that just had all of it. I feel like we're too segmented now, right? Like back in the day, listen, if I want this, I'm getting Comcast. If I want this, I'm getting DirecTV. Now it's like I can have all of this, but I got to have HBO. I got to have Netflix. I got to have Hulu. I got to have this. I got to have this. I got to, like, dog, like I got to pick and choose. Like I got to, and I get it. Everybody has their own live TV. I'm sticking with YouTube TV because the 4 screens on NFL.
That's
Sunday
a game
ticket.
breaker, bro.
Wow, that's phenomenal. Chef's kiss, bro. Saturdays and Sundays are elite. I haven't watched a commercial in weeks, is what I'm saying. Like, there was one time where all 4 of them synced on a commercial. I thought I was gonna have a stroke. Like, it was crazy talk out there. But it's just, I feel bad for the people that don't get it like us.
Yeah.
But I know that the NBA and the NFL have to cater to the markets that are us because we're now the young people with the money.
Case in point. I got nothing left to add, bro.
The Gator on Young Brothers money. Hey, man, follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. You can follow me on everything at Pat The Designer. Appreciate y'all for showing love. Bleach Report. Got a couple of shows if y'all trying to
Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Bulls. You guys can follow me at CEO Haize. For Pat The Designer, I'm Haize. This has been Locked On Bulls, man. We out here. Peace, y'all.
Peace. Nah, for real though, the connections is about to be crazy.